The first time I met the Alien Empress, I was not afraid of her. That alone should have terrified me. The chamber was larger than any cathedral I had ever seen on Earth, carved from a single piece of dark, glassy stone that reflected starlight like frozen oil. No torches burned. No screens glowed. The light came from her, soft, blue-white radiance pulsing beneath translucent skin, like a living constellation wrapped in the shape of a woman. She sat upon a throne that did not touch the floor, hovering a few inches above it, as if gravity itself deferred to her mood. Around us, her court stood in perfect silence, towering alien nobles with segmented limbs, crystalline growths, and eyes that glittered with colors humans had no names for. Every one of them radiated fear, not of me, but of her. And yet, when her gaze settled on me, the Empress tilted her head with something dangerously close to curiosity. "So," she said, her voice layered, as if several tones spoke at once. "You are the human who refuses to kneel." I swallowed, my boots echoing too loudly in the vast chamber. I had been dragged here in chains, fresh from a border war my species was losing badly. I was supposed to beg, to grovel, to plead for Earth's survival. Instead, I shrugged.
"Didn't see the point," I said.
"You already won." A ripple passed through the court, an involuntary shudder. Several guards tightened their grips on their weapons. The Empress smiled. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. And it was very deliberate. "Do you know," she said softly, "how many species have gone mad from merely hearing my true voice?" "No," I replied. "But I'm guessing you're about to tell me." Her eyes brightened. "You would fear my true form." The words carried weight. Not a threat, an invitation. I met her gaze, heart pounding, and before my survival instincts could stop me, I said the dumbest, bravest thing of my life. "Then prove it." Silence fell so hard it felt physical. The Empress did not move. She studied me for a long moment, as if peeling back layers of thought, memory, and intent. I felt naked under that gaze, not my body, but my mind, my doubts, my buried defiance.
Finally, she laughed.
The sound was like stars colliding. "How long has it been," she murmured, "since someone dared me instead of fearing me?" She rose from her throne. Gravity sighed and reasserted itself as her feet touched the floor. The nobles stepped back instinctively, some bowing so low their foreheads touched the stone. "Remove his chains," she commanded. The guards hesitated.
"Now."
The metal restraints fell away. My wrists burned where they had been, but I forced myself not to rub them. Weakness, I sensed, amused her less than courage. She descended the steps until we stood only an arm's length apart. Up close, her form was almost painfully human, tall, elegant, with luminous eyes and features sculpted like living art. Almost. "Understand this, human," she said. "My true form is not meant for your kind. It is not designed to be survived." "Lucky for me," I said, forcing a grin. "I've always had terrible self-preservation." Another smile. Sharper this time. "Very well." The world broke. The chamber dissolved, not physically but perceptually, as if my senses were being torn apart and reassembled incorrectly. The air thickened. Colors bent. Sound became pressure. The Empress unfolded. Her humanoid shape split like a shedding skin, peeling back to reveal something vast beneath, an architecture of light, limbs, and impossible geometry. She expanded without growing closer, filling space that shouldn't exist. Countless eyes opened within her form, each reflecting a different star system, a different age of the universe. I tried to scream. My lungs forgot how. This was not a body. It was a presence, a God-shaped idea that had learned to wear flesh as a courtesy. I felt my thoughts scatter, memories dissolving into static. I saw Earth as a pale blue, saw humanity's entire history flicker like a faulty signal, saw my own childhood compressed into a single aching heartbeat. Fear finally came. Pure, absolute terror. And yet, I was still standing. Somehow, impossibly, I was still me. Within the storm of her true form, something shifted. The countless eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in surprise. "You endure," her voice echoed, no longer layered but infinite, speaking from every direction and none.
How?
"I don't know." I gasped, blood trickling from my nose. "Maybe I'm stubborn." A pause. The pressure eased. Her form folded inward, impossibility collapsing back into elegance. The chamber snapped into focus. I dropped to one knee, catching myself on the cold stone, lungs dragging air like I had just surfaced from deep water. The court was chaos. Several nobles lay unconscious. One had clawed at its own eyes. The guards had retreated to the walls, weapons lowered in reverent fear. The Empress stood before me, expression unreadable. "Do you fear me now?" she asked. I looked up at her, vision swimming, head pounding. "Yes," I said honestly, "but not the way you expected." Her eyebrow arched. "I fear what you are," I continued, "but I'm more afraid of what you could become if no one ever challenges you." The chamber went still again. Slowly, she crouched so we were eye level. "You are an odd creature," she said. "Most who see my true form worship me. Or break." "Yeah," I muttered. "I'm not great at either." For a long moment, she searched my face. Then she did something that stunned the entire court. She bowed. Just slightly. Just enough. "In 10,000 cycles," she said, "no one has spoken to me as an equal." Murmurs erupted behind us. "I did not say I was your equal," I replied carefully. "Just not your toy." Her laugh returned, softer now. "Then rise," she said. "You will not be my prisoner." I stood, legs shaking. "You will be my envoy," she continued. "My bridge to humanity." Every instinct screamed danger. "And if I refuse?" I asked. She smiled, but there was no threat in it this time. "Then I will let you leave," she said. "And I will conquer your world without restraint." Fair enough. Thus began my life at the side of the Alien Empress. The days that followed were unlike anything I had imagined. I learned that her empire spanned thousands of systems, each ruled through fear, reverence, or carefully cultivated myth. She was not cruel by instinct, but distant, so far above her subjects that their suffering rarely registered unless it disrupted order. I spoke to her during long walks through her palace, a structure grown rather than built, its walls shifting subtly in response to her mood. I argued. I questioned. I challenged assumptions no one else dared voice. Why conquer when you could cooperate? Why rule through terror when loyalty lasted longer? Why hide your true form as a threat instead of a truth? At first, she listened with amused detachment, then with curiosity, then with something like concern. "You reshape yourself around me," she said one night, watching a binary star set through the palace windows. "Do you know that?" "People do that," I replied, "when they care what someone thinks." The word lingered between us.
Care.
One evening, I found her standing alone in the chamber where she had revealed her true form. The lights were dimmer, her glow subdued. "Show me again," I said quietly. She turned, startled. "You would not survive it twice," she said. "I'm not asking for the whole thing," I replied. "Just the truth. As much as you can share." She studied me for a long time. Then, carefully, She let part of it through. Her eyes deepened, galaxies swirling within them. Her silhouette blurred, edges fracturing into luminous strands. The air hummed, but did not crush. "This is what I am beneath the crown," she said. "Not a ruler, not a tyrant, a remnant." "Of what?" I asked. "Of a universe that died before yours was born." The weight of it pressed on my chest, not fear this time, but sorrow. "No one should carry that alone," I said. Her glow flickered. "Everyone does," she replied. Eventually, in that moment I understood. Her empire was not built on malice, but loneliness scaled to cosmic proportions. When the war with Earth ended, it did not end in annihilation. It ended in treaty, in shared borders, in uneasy peace. Humanity would never know how close it had come to extinction, nor how much that outcome hinged on a single reckless challenge spoken in a throne room. On my final day as envoy, the Empress walked with me to the edge of the palace, where my ship waited. "You will be remembered," she said. "By history?" I asked. "By me," she replied. I hesitated, then asked the question that had haunted me since the beginning. "Do you still think I would fear your true form?" She smiled, not as a ruler, not as a god, but as something ancient learning to be seen. "No," she said. "I think you saw it." Her hand brushed mine, careful, controlled, warm with contained infinity. As my ship lifted into the stars, I looked back at the palace, at the Empress standing alone against the endless dark, and I realized something profound. The most terrifying thing about her true form was not its power. It was that, despite it all, she had chosen to change. My return to Earth should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like exile. The stars stretched into lines as my ship jumped into slipspace, carrying me away from the palace, away from the Empress, away from the impossible truth I had glimpsed beneath her crown. The silence of the cockpit pressed in on me, heavier than the cosmic weight of her true form ever had. Because fear fades, but memory doesn't. Earth greeted me with blue skies, political chaos, and a hero's welcome I didn't deserve. Admirals shook my hand. Diplomats praised my strategic bravery. News feeds called me the man who stared down a goddess. None of them knew how close I had come to kneeling. None of them knew that the fate of our species had hinged not on weapons or fleets, but on whether an ancient being chose loneliness or change. The treaty held. Alien ships withdrew from contested systems. Trade routes opened. Earth entered the galactic stage bruised but alive. Humanity celebrated survival, already arguing over profits and borders like we always did. And yet, at night, I dreamed of light folding into impossible shapes. I dreamed of eyes that held dying universes. I dreamed of her. Weeks passed, then months. I tried to return to normal life. Tried to forget what it felt like to stand before something that could erase entire civilizations with a thought, and chose not to. It was during one such restless night that every screen on Earth went dark. Not failed, went dark. Then one by one they lit again. The message was broadcast everywhere. City billboards, wrist displays, orbital stations. A single image filled them all. The Alien Empress. But she was not seated on a throne. She stood unadorned, without crown or symbols of rule. The glow beneath her skin was muted, her form almost entirely humanoid, almost fragile. "My voice reaches the human world by my own choosing," she said, her words translated flawlessly. "Not as a conqueror, not as a deity, but as a witness." Panic rippled through the planet. I sat frozen, heart hammering. "I was once something you would call a god," she continued. "I ruled through fear, because fear was easy, because distance was safe." Her gaze shifted, somehow, impossibly, finding me through the screen. Then one human looked at me and did not kneel. The room seemed to tilt. "He dared me to be more than what I was," she said. And I listened. Governments tried to cut the feed. They failed. "I will no longer hide my true nature as a weapon," the Empress said. "Nor will I reveal it to dominate. From this moment forward, my empire will be bound by the same law as yours." A pause. Choice. The transmission ended. The world erupted. Celebrations. Protests. Terror. Hope. Humanity argued, as always, but beneath it all was a truth no one could ignore. The universe had changed, and so had she. I didn't know how she did it, but she found me 3 days later. Not with an armada. Not with guards. Just her. She appeared at the edge of a quiet desert at dusk, space bending gently around her arrival like the universe holding its breath. I approached on foot, unsure if this was real or another dream. "You came," I said. "I promised," she replied. Up close, she seemed smaller. Still radiant. Still impossibly ancient. But no longer distant. "You revealed yourself to Earth," I said. That took courage. She considered that word carefully. "I learned it from you." We stood in silence as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fire and shadow. "I will step down as Empress," she said suddenly. I turned to her, stunned. "You can't be serious." "I am," she replied. "My kind was never meant to rule forever. I mistook endurance for destiny." "What happens to your empire?" "It will fragment," she said calmly. "Struggle. Heal. Grow. As all things must." "And you?" I asked. For the first time since I had met her, she hesitated. "I do not know who I am without the crown," she admitted. "Only what I am." Light shimmered beneath her skin, not threatening, not overwhelming, just present. "I told you once that you would fear my true form," she said, "but you didn't turn away." "No," I said softly. "I didn't." She stepped closer. "This is my true form," she said, not with power, but with honesty. Not the horror, not the legend, but the part that chooses. I reached out before I could overthink it, my hand brushing hers. There was warmth there, trembling containment, a universe learning restraint. "You're not alone anymore," I said. Her eyes shone, not with stars this time, but with something unmistakably human. When she left Earth, it wasn't as a ruler departing a subject world. It was as a traveler stepping into the unknown. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Slowly, painfully, beautifully. Earth found its place, not as prey, not as rulers, but as participants. Stories spread of a luminous being seen among the stars, aiding worlds on the brink, never staying long, never demanding worship. Sometimes, late at night, I would look up and feel a familiar presence watching back. Not guarding, remembering. And I would smile, because once, long ago, I told an alien empress to prove I should fear her. Instead, she proved something far more terrifying, that even gods can choose to change.